What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of Straight from the Chair. It's your boy, Marcus, the barber with the bow tie.
And I'm Brice Davis of Brice Davis Media.
And we are here at 313 Beauty Supply and Icons Barber Salon, 125 North Allison, Xenia, Ohio.
Yes,
What up with it, man?
Yes, sir. Oh, man. The news has been on fire lately. Oh, man. First off, I got to ask you. Charlie Kirk, the talk of the week, man. What's your thoughts, opinions? Me personally, I don't normally even talk like this. I have respect for the dead usually, but I am part of that generation that I know growing up, we was told not to talk about the dead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the younger generation, they took it to another level.
Oh, my
but
God.
I'm still part of that generation that is a little degenerate on that side of things, but I'm just going to say, fuck Charlie Kirk, man.
Listen, man. I'm going to tell you, I can only respect the dead if I respect your life. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Man, this guy, there's certain things I don't wish on my worst enemy, but that's just a figure of speech. You know what I mean? Like, this guy targeted intellectual black folks because they taught the truth. You know what I mean? You live by the gun, you die by the gun. Man.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he was definitely pro Second Amendment. And he even said it. Like, sometimes people just gotta die, get shot. So, my thing was that I don't feel like we should be honoring him like he's a martyr, anything like that. Is the guy debated college students.
Right.
And he was always talking about racial issues, like the whole pilot thing. Like, if I get on a plane and I see a black pilot, first thing I'm thinking is this pilot qualified, or did he get this position because he's black?
Right.
And I've been on a plane 100 times. I never got on a plane and looked at the pilot and thought to myself, is this person qualified? Like, there's certain jobs you can probably think like that with, maybe.
Right.
Like an Uber driver, I prefer a male driver just because I feel like males drive better. Right. But if I get a woman driver, I'm not going to care too much.
I like a male driver because I don't feel like I have to be any less than who I am. When I'm with a woman driver, I feel like it's just weird because they make me feel weird. You know what I mean? Like, why are you driving if you are not comfortable with black men? You know what I mean? In your car. You know what I mean? I don't care if the driver's black or white. I just notice unless the person is just very personable and just really loves and is, you can tell an extrovert when you deal with one, you know what I mean? But unless they're that, it's just weird. A couple of them, you could tell they didn't want to have conversation. And the other ones were very enjoyable, it was a cool ride.
I think they can see the person they're picking up before they accept it. I could be wrong.
I'm sure.
Because I told you my experience, I think, on Airbnb. When the first Airbnb I got was in Inglewood. I went to Cali to visit, and it was a Mexican lady, and she actually declined me.
Right.
And the only reason I could think is she saw my face and was like, oh, no.
I ain't fucking with this nigga. Yeah, but, just back to dude, he was a troublemaker and trouble found him, and that's that. I feel like talking about him makes him a martyr.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do, too. Like, even giving energy, especially all these Facebook posts. And another thing is, he loved to debate about black people.
Right.
Black stats. And
right.
We all know that those are skewed numbers to begin with. And then you're debating college kids, not professors or scholars.
Scholars, right.
Yeah, you're debating kids. Like, you're not going against people that's respected.
That can hold their weight. Right.
I'd be at the edge of my seat like, oh, yeah, if I was up there, yeah, it'd be on. But you talking to kids that don't really know no better.
Right. They're just coming into the real world for real. I think, honestly, his death was symbolic because of who he was, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are missing the point that he was killed by a white person.
I was just about to end on that note.
You know what I mean?
We got to end on that.
He wasn't killed by a black person. He was killed by one of his own countrymen that didn't believe in his rhetoric. You know what I mean?
So, a Trump supporter, like a MAGA full-fledged, right? And we all know that white people commit, they say 90% of political violence.
Right.
Like, that ain't us that be killing people in power. That's them that be doing
Right.
it. So to spend your time to say that black people are a violent race, and we can talk about something else for real.
Right. On a lighter note, happier note, I know you was trying to get to upper echelon to watch the game. I mean, not the game, but the fight.
Yeah. The Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford.
Right.
Man, Unc got to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm talking about me. And if you think I can stay up to 12 o'clock to watch a fight, it ain't gonna happen. I thought I could if I forced myself to go out.
Right.
Because I was watching the undercards fight on my phone, but it just wasn't happening.
What you should have done was take a nap and then woke up to see the fight.
Oh, that's never happened. I don't sleep in the day. I can't. I wish I could, but Hey. My friends used to call me like, dang, bro, you went to sleep before the club? Like, ain't that serious or deep for me? Not that I wish I could, but.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking a nap before I go out.
I wish I could.
At least an hour. But yeah, no, man, it was a decent little It was definitely scrapping. You know what I mean? It was a great fight. What was the killer, though, was Cuz gave him back his belts.
He definitely high-fived his daughter. I thought that was great sportsmanship.
Right.
You can tell Canelo's not insecure about his position in boxing.
Right.
Otherwise, I think he would have probably been a little more bitter about it.
Right.
He like, man, shoot, I'm regarded as one of the greatest, so to lose to somebody that's regarded the greatest right now, hey, it is what it is. That's part of legacy for real.
Right.
But you think athletes should be paid more than doctors?
Man, I heard an athlete say yeah, but that's a biased opinion. I don't know, man. They provide a lot of entertainment, man, and they work hard. I think they should be compensated for what they do. And
you got to factor like sports deals, endorsements.
Right. It's so much that they represent. You know what I mean? So yeah, their lifestyle, I mean, their profession requires that. You know, their profession allows that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's so much money.
Mad about it.
Huh?
They be mad about it, like, oh, you can save a life and he can shoot a hoop and he's making twice as much as a.
Well,
that's the game.
Honestly, I don't even think doctors work. Don't disrespect, but I don't even think doctors work as hard as athletes. In their, don't get it twisted. You have to go to school, you have to learn, you have to study. But the way doctors rely on pharmaceuticals, I don't believe that they are actually putting their knowledge to work. You know what I mean? Doctors should be healing. They're not really saving a life. They're patching people up. You know what I mean?
I don't know, G. That's a lot of studying. That's a lot of studying to become a doctor versus an athlete.
No disrespect to doctors. It just seems like, especially as a man of color in America, you know, we've been lab rats since colonialism. You know what I mean? I'm sure some great work has gone into the study of medicine, but doctors are still like mechanics. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't really know until they know. So it's like Stephen Curry, he knows no matter what position he stands at, he's gonna sink that fucking bucket. The doctor is gonna fucking lie to me.
Yeah, that's why I think we should do our own research. Like, if you get in a car accident and you break your arm, I would say go to the doctor. But if you're like, you got some kind of sickness, you might want to look into what caused that sickness and what you can do to alleviate it.
And a lot of times doctors don't even listen. I've heard many times people have been going to their regular doctor and the doctor just bypasses the client's or patient's suggestion, like they don't know their own body. You know, sometimes doctors can be full of themselves, so that arrogance causes them to be ignorant to the needs of some of their patients until it's too late. You know what I mean? I've heard of many cases like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely bad doctors. And a lot of times, too, like, for instance, if you got, let's say, high blood pressure, it's like, oh, yeah, you consume a lot of salt. Instead of telling you to cut the salt down, it's like, yo, here's a pill.
That's what I'm saying.
Still consume the salt.
So why are they making all this money to do something shit Google can do or AI can do? They can suggest something according to your symptoms. Yeah. That's what doctors do.
Well, it's better to learn it now before it gets banned. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, a lot of natural healers, holistic healers, YouTube don't be, you know what I mean? They don't be rocking with that. They be taking all the videos down. That's why Dr. Sebi's legacy, not legacy, my fault, but his name took a little hit because it's harder to find videos on him because YouTube, it's
That's
like,
because doctors aren't about healing. So if it's about paying an athlete or a person for what they're worth, doctors haven't proven their worth. They've been manipulated and influenced by. Before I get into that, first I'm gonna say if anybody deserves big money, it's teachers,
oh
especially
yeah, I agree.
especially early education. You know what I mean? Teachers who really care about their jobs, teachers who really care about making tomorrow's leaders competent leaders. You know what I mean? That's who should get big money, not just college professors, high school, middle school, early education, elementary. Those people should get big money. But yeah, doctors are influenced by politicians. Politicians pay niggas to make them money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I don't really fuck with politics like that. Are you a truster of politicians?
No,
I
I
mean,
actually believe when it comes to debates aren't about telling the truth. It's about winning the crowd over.
right.
It's about people feeling like you're on their side, even if you constantly contradict yourself or you're just flat out lying. It doesn't matter as long as there's a connection. Like, you ever notice like Trump supporters, like the real Trumpers, like you can tell them anything that Trump lied or contradicted
Oh
about, and they
man.
still stand by it.
Right.
Like, those people are dangerous because
Right.
anything Trump does or says is like, yo, it's right. Well, we don't talked about Charlie Kirk and politicians. I just want to stick on racism a little bit. I hear a lot of people say throughout times are getting worse, and I've always argued that times is getting better because if you compare the analytics of crime in, let's say, the 2000s versus the 2020s, crime has significantly went down, and laws have changed as well on what's considered crimes and things of that nature. I would also argue there's probably more laws than there were back then. And for it to still have decreased, I would say we made progress throughout the years. But as far as racism, I'm going to flip it back to you. Do you think it's better now than it was then?
Racism is never good. Racism is never good at no point in time. Like, I don't know how to even gauge that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I would say it's worse now because niggas are in more, it's black people are more powerful and influential now in America since colonialism. So I think racism should be we should have a lot more control over it. We have money, we have influence. You know what I mean? We're dating white motherfuckers, we're marrying white motherfuckers, we're having white mixed kids, but niggas are still getting killed by police.
Yeah.
Like, and we have the ability to broadcast this kind of shit within a matter of seconds all over the world. We're not making any moves to overpower racism. So until that happens, racism will always be bad. It's not a matter of getting worse or getting better. How can racism get better unless it's, you know what I mean, abolished?
Yeah, I mean,
how
at
do you
first
gauge that?
I thought to myself when I heard this question, I think racial relations improved, but then I had to think to myself, back during civil rights, they were more, if you do something to one of ours, like, we're gonna riot, we're gonna make noise. And, was George Floyd the last time that we had was it like broadcasted marches?
And that's a good point. Like, racism has worked because we are no longer a community. We are no longer a tribe. We are no longer a village. You know what I mean? So we look at each other like we don't have time for one another. You know what I mean? So I think it's getting worse because now we are living the effects and results of it, and it's reflected in how we interact with one another.
Yeah, and look at how many black people supported Charlie Kirk's death. And the fact that we're that blinded and not understanding prejudice motherfucker right in your face like that, and to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna donate 20 grand to his family. It's like, oh yeah, we lost. Like, we're misinformed. Like, but don't get me wrong, with the internet and all that, it's definitely easier to spread certain messages,
right?
Than it ever was before. We don't gotta rely on old books and to join. You had the Nation of Islam, the 5 percenters. things like that.
Right.
We don't got to do that no more to get information. We can just go online. So
Right.
in ways, yeah, I don't know if I say it's better or worse.
Racism, I don't know if it can get any worse. I don't know if it
Yeah.
can get any worse. You know what I mean? Like, once again, how do comment, man? How do you gauge racism? Like, how do you gauge whether it's worse? Or I think it's the same. I think they're still controlling us. I think we are still puppets. I think we are still asleep. I think we are disbanded and disenfranchised. So yes, racism is still terribly bad. Anytime a white person can kill a black person and not get the same time that a black person can get for killing a white person,
Yeah.
it's reflected in these laws and these courts.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Racism is
yeah.
still terrible.
You just brought up a point that made me think of narratives. Because, like, you hear about there was a black guy that killed the white girl, was that in the Carolinas somewhere? The refugee.
Right.
But nobody read into that. They just saw the headlines. If you would have, like, read into it, it's like, he suffers from schizophrenia and other mental disorders. So that had nothing to do with race. But
Right.
when the headlines is black kills or white kills, narratives all day.
Right.
Like,
right.
that gives you all types of grounds to create a narrative.
I remember seeing a clip about Bill Cosby. I don't know if he was on Johnny Carson or what, but he was saying the same thing, the exact same thing about narratives. And he said that, the exact same situation, if a white guy happens to kill somebody, it's just a white guy. They don't even say it's a white guy. They barely even say it's his name. They say a guy killed another guy.
Yeah.
But if it's a black guy, they make sure.
Headliner.
You know what I mean?
Remember magazines?
Right.
Yeah, there was always the headliner to get your attention.
Right.
Yeah, so like
racism, I think, will always be here, unfortunately.
Luckily, when dude got shot, it wasn't one of us. Because if it was one of us, the narrative it would have created.
Right.
Yeah, like because he was always talking about black people being violent.
Right.
It would have proved the point, and that would have definitely tried to get him martyrized for, oh, he died for what he believed in, and like, no, nigga, we all got opinions.
Right.
Like, shoot, if I get anybody that's a public commentator or even doing what we're doing, like, you gotta expect if something were to happen to any of us, like, people are gonna have opinions over us having opinions.
Right.
Because I did see the thing where it's like, oh, we need to be sensitive towards the family, but when you put yourself in that position,
when you become a target.
Yeah, and that goes for all of us that has an opinion and we speak for a living.
Right.
With that being said, the fact that anybody can die over their opinion, that brings the last point being of legacy. And I want to talk about the importance of legacy and why it's important and why everybody should want to have a decent legacy and not be known as a terrible person. Because at the end of the day, when it's your time to go and people are talking about you, you aren't going to be remembered only a handful of ways. And I think it's bigger than you. I think it's more than just how you was living and what you was doing. Your legacy bleeds over to your kids and your grandkids.
Real tough.
Like your last name, everything. Like everything about you is going to be embodied into the next generation and the next generation. So it's definitely bigger than just us.
So, I always like to go to the dictionary, and it's funny because this is the topic of conversation with me and my kids currently, like my youngest two specifically, about legacy. I've asked them, what is it? So we're going to define the word: the long-lasting impact of particular events, actions, etc., that took place in the past or of a person's life. We create a legacy regardless of whether it's intentional, direct, or not. Like my man said, what you leave behind, fellas, is your legacy. So even if you don't leave nothing behind, that's your legacy. It's ironic because normally the legacy is started by the man in the family. You know what I mean? The legacy is normally planned out by the head of the household. It's normally perpetuated and initiated by the man, and the family comes behind and supports, help him fulfills that. So How important is it? I think it's important because it's like a roadmap, and it's like a path already set for your family. Like the legacy is the reason a man exists. You know what I mean? The legacy is the foundation of your family. You know what I mean? It's the path set to continue your family's success. In my mind,
Yeah.
my family hasn't. I'm the first to create or leave a legacy of any kind for my family.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you ever looked in, like me personally, we did the whole ancestry thing. So I think there's just a proud feeling of knowing you look at back in your lineage and you read about your grandparents, your great grandparents, and your great grandparents, like seeing what they did and how they lived, and it's like, oh, they were all in the military, like
Right,
they did something honorable, like
right,
they didn't have a cowardice about them, like because I'm not joining no military.
right,
You
right,
know,
right.
I'm part of the younger generation, the '90s babies and all that. But to know that they were all part of that and honorable men,
Nobility, them,
yeah,
yeah,
nobility,
right, right.
stoic.
So, and that's what I'm trying to do for myself and my family. I feel like it's a must that we tie our bootstraps together or put your Crocs in sports mode and
As they
and
say,
you know what I mean? You plan for your life. That's the beginning of your legacy. You be intentional about. I was just telling my lady, man, like I'm about to go ahead and I've been talking this real estate shit for the longest, man, but I've been
yeah,
lazy because I had so many other things that's been distracting me from actually doing it. But that's a part of my legacy, man. I got to get land and some property. The only way to get it done is to be intentional about it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that way you can even teach these younger brothers, man, because that's the ultimate goal is to be an example to the younger brothers in your culture, in your community, so that they can do the same thing. So you can have a personal family legacy, then you can have a cultural legacy. You know what I mean? I think we're coming to the end of the show, y'all.
yep.
And as this is a part of the game. Come on in.
Oh, for
But
sure, man.
yeah, the legacy is real and it starts with your intent.